Welcome. Hi, Dr. Shayne here. I thought it would be fun to delve into something that I mentioned before, and it's actually gaining a lot of popularity in various aspects of medicine as well as natural product wellness and healing therapies, and what it's commonly referred to as something called phage therapy. And phage therapy can be created in a number of ways, meaning that the phage system is likened to what we call antibiotics. Now, antibiotics, of course, have they've been around a while, of course, discovered and used to treat pathogenic organisms, bacteria specifically. Certainly not good against viruses, not many in the way of fungi or parasites. But this phage therapy has some really powerful and therapeutic value among what I would consider the natural products industry, but you will start seeing them in pharma as well. So it's an important concept that you understand this idea of phage therapy. And what phage are a virus that attacks a specific bacterium. So in other words, nature has created this phenomenal system where in order to manage bacterial populations, and if you think about bacterial populations like biofilms, you leave a nice piece of fruit out, and you see over time that it biodegrades, or you see grapes that are on the vine that have gone through, no one's picked them, and they start to degrade, and it's organisms that are doing a lot of that decomposition. In order to maintain healthy populations of these bacteria globally, and I mentioned that the ocean is a massive reservoir for these phage organisms, they manage the populations of bacteria. It's a beautiful system because in your gut, you have all of these beautiful, amazing organisms, and you may, if you're not healthy, you may have some unwanted or undesirable organisms. Those can be managed and are managed by phage. And what phage look like, I have a little model here to show you, is they look like this little lunar lander. And I'm going to show you this in front. This is what a phage looks like, and they're incredibly small. And this is essentially a virus that kills bacterium. It is essentially harmless to eukaryotics, meaning that it's harmless to us, it's harmless to fungi, parasites, etc. These are specifically designed to manage bacterial populations. So if a bacterial population grows too high or too dense, then phage will come in and wipe out a large number of those, and it helps manage these populations. So they're beautiful organisms. They've been known since before the 50s. In fact, if you look at Eastern European countries, they still use phage therapy, and it's now growing here. The reason I bring this up is because these phage are something we do research on. And we've got this library of phages now. We use them in our world as a prebiotic to manage bacteria. So when you think of prebiotics, they help grow. They're like the food for microorganisms, probiotics, etc. So it's not an exact term, and we don't really have an exact term for them, how to classify them in the natural products world. However, that is the closest thing we can come to, because they do help manage, and they manage things in a really nice way. So if you think of, there's specific phage for, let's say, E. coli. So the E. coli is an organism we don't always want around, certainly not in our intestines in many ways, certain strains. And one way to manage those is you use phages to control these populations. And I wanted to show you guys. So this is actually kind of fun, because that's a little bit of the clinical value of phages, certainly, and I want you guys to understand that piece, because that's the benefit of going into the environment, getting food out of your garden, exposing yourself to things like rivers, streams, lakes, and the ocean. These are all, and each other, right? We can share phages through social family contact. These are amazing things. These are actionable things we do to keep our phage populations healthy, which in turn keeps our bacterial populations healthy. So that's the take-home message. But I want to show you that in the lab, in order to find these things, because they are extremely small, imagine they're 1,000 times smaller than a bacterium, and a bacterium is in itself is invisible to the naked eye. All this is done using either electron scanning microscopes and so on, so they're very, very small. But you can see them using a technique, what we call plaquing assays. So what we do is we grow an organism on a plate, and you haven't seen that, and I'm going to show you that in a second, but these plates kind of get a whole bunch of organisms growing on the top of it, and then when we add phage to it, it starts to kill the organism on the plate, and what you see are these dark plaques. So let me show you that now, because it's really a really amazing way to find phage. So you can see right here, all of this milky color, these are all organisms. Now on this plate, these are Cutibacterium acnes. I've got some Streptococcus and some Staphylococcus here. And what we look for, and we have to go into lakes and streams and the ocean, and we collect samples, where you see this dark zone, this is a kill zone. So when we take water from these natural resources and we try thousands of different samples, we start to find these phages that will wipe out organisms of interest. So we have now phages that will wipe out staph, strep, E. coli, Bacteroides, Bacillus. So we collect these phages, and this is what they look like. This is a cool plaque assay. So this is what we call the plaque, where it's killing the organisms, and this is where the organisms live. And this is how we find them. So it's this really cool assay we do in the micro lab that give us an opportunity. Now, what we can do is we can harvest this plate and gather up this phage and grow it in large quantities, and it's very specifically always going to kill this type of organism. And again, it's very specific. Each phage has a partner bacterium. So from the knowledge standpoint of our health journey and our wellness of our microorganisms, phage are going to be a tool that become incredibly important on our microbiome journey, because each phage is specific for an organism, unlike antibiotics, where they wipe out all organisms, good and bad. And in the future, we need to be more personal, we need to be more specific. There's still a lot of work to be done, because they're specific, you've got to go through thousands of iterations to find specific phages. And yet it is doable, and you will see more and more of this research coming out. And again, we have a number of phages now that we have, and it's super exciting. I don't want to overreach. We have to learn more. We're doing more, but there is an application right now. And I wanted to share with you guys the idea that it's real, it's current, it is going to be part of the future, and it's so much kinder to our microbiome because it's already doing that job. And yet some people lack phages, some people have organisms growing that do not have a phage to keep it in control, and these phages will help us do that in the future and in the present, to be honest. This is why I'm showing you these cool plates, because we isolate phages, and I thought you guys would enjoy that little bit of science. Thanks for joining me. See ya.